March 15th, 44 BC, 23 blades tore into the body of Gaius Julius Caesar. This was not an execution. It was a ritual, a blood-soaked sacrifice carried out in the marble heart of Rome. Caesar, the man who had conquered Gaul, broken Pompeii, and bent the Republic to his will, collapsed at the base of his greatest enemy's statue, Pompey the Great. Even in death, the irony was merciless. The killers were not strangers, they were senators, men who had shared his table the night before. As Caesar fell, they raised their crimson daggers and shouted a single word, liberators. They believed Rome would rejoice, that crowds would flood the forum, praising them for restoring freedom. Instead, there was silence, a suffocating, terrifying silence. The Roman people did not mourn the dead dictator. They feared the living men who had unleashed chaos. Caesar had given them order, victories, and bread. The assassins offered nothing but blood and an idea called liberty. The plot had been engineered by Gaius Cassius Longinus, but its face, its betrayal, was Marcus Junius Brutus, the man Caesar trusted most, the man whose blade struck deepest. Ancient writers say Caesar did not curse them. They whispered in disbelief, "You too, my son?" The liberators thought the battle was over. It had only begun. They marched to the capital expecting applause. Instead, a single man stood in their path, Consul Mark Antony, and worse still, a ghost walked beside him. For a moment, peace seemed possible. The Senate declared an amnesty. Brutus and Cassius even dined with Antony, a truce as hollow as their smiles. At Caesar's funeral, Brutus spoke first. His speech was cold, precise, stoic. He claimed he loved Rome more than Caesar, that tyranny had left him no choice. The crowd listened. They nodded. The conspirators exhaled. Then Mark Antony stepped forward. His voice was soft, grieving. He said he came to bury Caesar, not praise him. Again and again, he called Brutus an honorable man. With each repetition, the word honorable decayed. Then Antony lifted Caesar's toga stiff with dried blood. He traced the wounds. Here was Cassius, here Casca, here this final gash, Brutus. He transformed politics into murder. Then came the will. Caesar had left his gardens to the people, public parks for Rome, and more 75 drachmas to every citizen present. The forum exploded. Logic collapsed under rage. The crowd became a mob. The liberators fled Rome like hunted animals. The Republic was already dead, but the most dangerous enemy was not behind them. He was coming. In Apollonia, hundreds of miles away, an 18-year-old youth received the news. Quickly. Unknown, unimpressive. Then came the shock. Caesar had adopted him, named him his son, his heir. Gaius Octavius now bore the name Caesar and a blood debt. When Octavian arrived in Rome, Mark Antony dismissed him as a child and seized Caesar's fortune for himself. It was a fatal mistake. Octavian sold his own estates to pay every citizen the money Caesar had promised. He kept his father's word. Overnight, the boy became Rome's darling and the chosen leader of Caesar's veteran legions. Antony lost the army without drawing a sword. Though they hated each other, Antony and Octavian shared one truth. Caesar's killers had to die. Together with Lepidus, they formed the Second Triumvirate. To fund their war, they unleashed terror, proscriptions, hundreds of names, legal murder for profit. Even Cicero, the voice of the Republic, was sacrificed. His head and hands were nailed to the rostra. The Republic devoured itself. The final reckoning came in Greece, at Philippi. Brutus, philosopher turned general, was haunted. Legend says a specter visited his tent. "I am your evil spirit. We shall meet again at Philippi." In the first clash, Brutus crushed Octavian's forces, but Antony destroyed Cassius. Lost in dust and confusion, Cassius believed all was lost. He ordered his freedmen to kill him using the same dagger that had pierced Caesar. When Brutus found the body, something inside him shattered. Weeks later, surrounded and broken, he attacked again. It was slaughter. Brutus fled into the hills, whispering that virtue itself might be an illusion. Refusing capture, he fell on his own sword. Octavian ordered Brutus's head sent to Rome to be thrown at the feet of Caesar's statue. The war was over. The vengeance was not. For more than a decade, Caesar's killers were hunted across the Mediterranean. None died peacefully. Most died by blades, betrayal, or torture. At last, only one man remained. Octavian defeated Antony at Actium. Antony fell on his sword. Cleopatra followed him in death. Octavian stood alone. And here lies history's final cruelty. The liberators killed Caesar to prevent a king. Instead, they destroyed the Republic's defenders and cleared the path for something far worse. In 27 BC, Octavian claimed he was restoring the Republic. It was a lie carefully crafted, perfectly legal. The Senate gave him a new name, Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. The 23 daggers did not stop tyranny. They only chose the tyrant.